to the floor here.
First to the floor podcast. Shout out to Australia.
Jordan Crawford, nice move with the dribble.
Here's driving on Stoudemire. The jumper, yes!
Oh, what a diving save by the guard.
Yeah! Boston wins.
Tatum
Drives down and throws it down.
You guys are talking about a thing. Here's where it is, right here.
There's a best for the tie.
The best team in the world right now.
Marcus Smart at the buzzer. Fireman in the deck.
All right, welcome in. First on the Floor podcast. Ben Ballas here, along with Jake Eisenberg. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. Jake, it's time. The Jaylen Brown appreciation show. All of the post-trade banter conversation. It's all died down, and we're now left with this feeling, I guess, that we just kind of like miss our guy. I don't know. Is that where your head's at, Jake?
I think it's just important to do. And I've been personally surprised with my own emotional response to the Jaylen Brown trade, like in comparison to the Marcus Smart trade. And I don't really know why that is. I was less emotional about this one, but that might just be like a denial, the first stage of grief type of thing, because as I prepared for this podcast and was taking a journey down Jaylen Brown memory lane from his rookie season all the way through the finals, like definitely found myself getting a little bit emotional and being like, man, as much as I see the vision for the next iteration of the Celtics, like he did a lot of awesome things for the Celtics, and him and Jason Tatum won a shitload of basketball games together. And so, yeah, it was a little bit of everything, but I think this will be cathartic. And after this, you know, Jaylen Brown's a 76er, but for now, enjoy the good times.
Yeah, for the next hour, he's still a Celtic at least. And I think like when a player or a person really, in Jaylen's case, leaves your team like 10 years as a Celtic, grew up before our eyes, won a title, won finals MVP, he's 50% of the Jays, like an era that will define our lives as Celtics fans. Like you kind of just have to pause and celebrate it for what it was. So
the entirety of the show, basically, right?
Yeah.
Is the Jaylen Jason era. So
yeah, exactly. Tatum's rookie year, Jaylen's sophomore year, inception of what was then the Celtics Reddit podcast. Man, it's been a journey. And like folks in the chat, let us know like favorite Jaylen Brown jerseys. We'll bring up memories rather, jerseys as well, I suppose. We'll bring them up on screen. So what's the approach here, Jake? How are we gonna do this? Chronological?
I mean, honestly, feel free to let your brain and your emotions take you anywhere. But I think starting from the beginning makes the most sense, maybe going all the way back to draft night. And the level of sicko-ness has just exponentially grown from where I was when Jaylen Brown was drafted. And if you're watching on YouTube, we've got it here now. And like I was such a casual at this point. I remember like, okay, we won 48 games, got a third overall pick. You know, we could really use some shooting. Like Buddy Hield, he'll be ready to play straight away. What an idiot. And I wasn't like upset about the pick at all, but like I didn't know anything about really the draft at all. But I remember wanting Buddy Hield of the guy, not being incredibly passionate about it either way. But I was like, Buddy Hield makes sense to me. Veteran guy, shoot some threes. And thank God Danny Ainge was in charge and Brad Stevens has been in charge, because it was a really great draft pick.
Yeah, I remember like Wick had to come out and address the booing season ticket holders after the draft, and like, this is our guy, we're standing behind him, and like he was right, they stood behind him for 10 years. I was a big Jamal Murray stan at that point in the 2016 draft. I was at an Amazon Web Services conference while like sitting in the back row watching the draft on Twitter, at least following. And I was like, Jaylen Brown, like he wasn't slated to go until like number 7. This is insane. Like what a reach from Danny Ainge. But you know, I think he seemed to have like aura, as they say, quite, even just like coming up on the stage. And this was early in my like dimensions obsessed days, but just like 6'7" wing, the flat top, and then like just the overall aesthetic, I think, with Jaylen, which came after, like in like sort of the media conferences and certainly summer league and things like that. It didn't take long to come around on the guy. And like that rookie year, it was kind of a crazy transition period for
Yeah.
the Celtics. Like he played with Isaiah Thomas, which is kind of up until just recently the one sort of connection back to that early Brad Stevens era. But yeah, I think it took people a while to come around on Jaylen initially in 2016.
Yeah. But at the same time, like you go back now and you look at one of his first press conferences and he's like, I'm ready to go to war for the city. And
For sure.
I do think that kind of encapsulates Jaylen Brown's career as a Celtic. It's never going to be perfect. And there was a lot more ups than there were downs for the last decade. But he did two-way. I go back and look at some of the athleticism early in rookie JB could just fly off the screen.
Yeah.
And we've got a bunch of clips here, which is fun. And because I at that point I was watching some games. I had League Pass, but like I wasn't watching every Celtics game. It was kind of before like that IT year. This actually, I guess that was this year. That was really when I started getting into.
They have bonded together.
Here we go. We've got
Whoa. Whoops.
Yeah.
Sorry.
we've got rookie. This game is the game that I remember kind of jumping out to me. It was like Cavs, Celtics. You got that LeBron era team kind of after Kyrie, or just before Kyrie leaves. I think this is Kyrie's last year, right before he gets traded to the Celtics.
Mhm.
And Jaylen has like this game where he has a couple of key ISOs on LeBron. They're trying to hide LeBron on Jaylen Brown. He like goes right at him, pump fake, gets LeBron to bite a little bit, finishes. And then again, like in the corner, LeBron on him, little jab step into the body, dunks
All right,
on
really?
LeBron. And then in this same game, blocks LeBron. It was, and I remember watching the highlights of, I watched the game live, but I remember thinking like, oh, is this something that
Yeah.
is happening in front of our eyes here? And that was my first, like rookie JB was kind of in and out of the rotation, didn't play a ton in the playoffs either, but there were flashes, as we like to say, of rookie JB.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, just generally, like, what you thought of Jaylen Brown's rookie season. Like, in that instance, like, that's prime LeBron, which is not necessarily like you can't tie that to a year because LeBron's prime was like, I don't know, 15 years or something like that. But he came in with like is modernity the word? Like, he seemed to have this sort of more modern NBA package about him, like beyond just the aesthetic, which I talked about. But he had an intelligence in his approach to the game, which I think some were seeing that as a detriment to his overall like package as a player. Obviously, Ainge and the Celtics picked him up number 3, and he did seem to fit in quite well. Whereas some younger, like 19-year-old number 3 picks may not assimilate well with the team. The Celtics had sort of unnaturally high draft picks at that point, thanks to the Brooklyn Nets trade. And I thought he fit in quite well with the overall sort of vibe and chemistry of the team from early on. And that kind of like sort of painted the picture of Jaylen's time with the Celtics really right up until the end, where like he never really, up until last year, had the opportunity to like take the reins as number one player. And even though the media tried to make a lot of noise about that, I thought Jaylen handled that like really well throughout his career, particularly in his rookie season. Did like 6.6 points per game, I think 17 minutes, wasn't like this immediately impactful rookie season like you do see with like a lottery pick or a top 5 pick, whatever it might be. But it sounds like, talking to you, Jake, like you had a sense from the beginning that there was maybe something to this guy.
Yeah, I mean there were definitely flashes, but yeah, it was. But this was the Isaiah season, right? So like my memories of this season were IT and like one of the most magical seasons. Like my own memory of it is like I don't really remember a ton of Jaylen Brown stuff. Going back and watching, I'm like, okay, no, I do remember this, I do remember that. But for me, like the Jaylen Brown, like when I really was like, oh, what have we stumbled into here? And I'm guessing this is what a lot of people felt was like the following season, and not just the regular season. Like Hayward goes down, Kyrie gets injured. It was the playoffs. It was, and really specifically that Bucks series, like straight like out the gates, against Giannis, Malcolm Brogdon, Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, the Drew Bledsoe experience, and Scary Terry. Like I've got so
we both got stuff.
Beautiful. Yeah, bring some of it up here. Like this, he was unreal in this Bucks series. He They go up 2-0 in that series. He has 20 in that first game. He has 30 in game 2. 5 for 12 from 3. He was 39% from 3 for the entire playoff run. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh my gosh, like the big question was this guy's jump shot. How is he going to be able to, I don't know, like fit into the modern NBA without the shooting? It's like, it looks really great. Yeah, and going back and watching and listening to this era is some of my favorite stuff because you've still got Mike and you've still got Tommy. And if I bring this one up, and I really highly recommend everybody listens to this one if you're not already listening to the podcast, which would be weird. But yeah,
Good block out on Zella. Brown to the basket. A left-hand power move. Go get him. I'll tell you, Brown is out of the playpen and into his big boy pants.
Hell yes.
out of the it's awesome. And you've got you got Baines like that, and that playoff run was electric. And he had some awesome plays in that Philly series.
Yeah.
Like they were kind of exceeding expectations for the entirety of that season. And coming into the playoffs, we were like playing with house money, and you go against that Philly team. And that was honestly, that series is got to be top 5 like most enjoyable fan moments. Probably can trace the Schadenfreude report back to that series,
Of course.
where Embiid and Ben Simmons have been crowned, especially Ben Simmons. You've got the Colin Cowherd clip of him being like, "Hey, LeBron,
Yeah.
we're good. We've got Ben
It's an
Simmons here
old-timer.
now." And that is the birth of the Shooter 3 Coward t-shirts. In that series, they go up 3-0. Jaylen Brown catches, I think it is in the game where they go up 3-0 in Philly, where Brad Stevens, ATO wizard, Jaylen like catches it under the basket, finishes. Forget if that was like to put them into overtime or not, but that whole run, like even I got that the conference final, and that's what's crazy. Like they were going then into the conference finals against LeBron James, who was at the peak of his powers here, and Jaylen Brown was doing like ISO, get downhill, finishing over Paul George, and like this Kevin Love early, like in that 20, I'm not early, but in that 2018 range, like young Jaylen Brown trying to put him in the basket. Jaylen takes the bump, just like rejects him, and then comes down the other end, hunts old man Kyle Korver, Marcus Smart, find him in the corner, jab step, long jumper, like knocks it down to put the Celtics up like 20 plus, and they go up 2-0 in this series. It was a reason why we came back in that 2019 season and everyone has the Celtics as the favorite. It's like, oh, dude, what we just saw from Jaylen as well as Jason, obviously. And then you get back Kyrie and you get back Hayward. Like this team is set up to be just unbelievable. And we were right about that to an extent. They were set up to be unbelievable, just kind of took a weird undulating path to get there. But the stuff you saw from Jaylen in particular in the playoffs was like, holy shit.
Yeah, and even going into that second, like that sophomore season for Jaylen Brown, Avery Bradley traded for Mook Morris, which just promotes Jaylen as the starting 2 for the Celtics. And I remember being like super excited about that. Like again, just the physical dimensions, I'm sorry to say it, of Jaylen Brown, and just like obviously Avery Bradley was already like a hounding defender as it was, but it just looked like Jaylen had equal potential there as well as like infinitely more potential offensively, and he was already incredibly potent like in transition, for example, that early in his career. Then it's the summer league, the Trouble 07, like Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
7-11.
Yeah, like whatever it was. I think there were a few nicknames being workshopped at that point in time. But as early as the summer league, that was like the initial, like the debut of the Jays, if you will. That was incredible. And then, yeah, particularly that Bucks series, which was a grueling 7-game series. And Jaylen had some incredible performances, both at home, on the road, multiple 30 pieces. Incredible for the second-year player. So early signs that the Jays, but particularly Jaylen in that instance in his second season, there were many good things to come. In fact, many good things already happening at the present time.
Yeah. And honestly, like I've kind of roasted Jaylen a bit in this kind of in the wake of the trade as far as like the sacrifice stuff. And going back and looking at some of the statistics and some of the big games and some of the highlights, like I can almost understand. I was able to kind of have empathy in the sense of like, why am I not kind of seen as on the same level as Jason, or like gotten some of the love? 'Cause coming out of that playoff run, it was all Jason Tatum. He dunks on LeBron, and deservedly so. Like Tatum was incredible and like showed off more like true number one potential as an even younger player, as a rookie, as a 19-year-old, obviously. But going back and looking at it, it's like, man, in that Cavs series, like they go up 2-0. He has back-to-back 23 points games, 8 rebounds. You know, as I showed in the clips, like big highlight plays defensively. Even in the game 5 that they won, 17 points. Like it was just really fucking impressive for a dude's like actual first playoff run. And so I was like, yeah, I kind of from the beginning, even my own, I always loved Jaylen, but it was always fair or not fair has been, but Tatum is this, Tatum is that. And going back and looking at it, it's like, man, he's fucking important to this era, obviously. But I've enjoyed hammering that back into my soul.
Yeah, it's been good for the soul, absolutely, to sort of like recount the Jaylen Brown experience in prep for this show. I think also an important thing to like get in the mind of Celtics fans at that time is, with the exception of Marcus Smart 2014 went 6 overall. Aside from that, like we hadn't really, as sort of I guess younger at the time Celtics fans, like been through the motions of what it was like to like draft really high in the draft at that point. And like see the development and growth of a player like drafted top 5 or top 3 in this case, to get 2 top 3 picks back-to-back years and to be able to watch them grow in the way they did and succeed in the way they did. Like that was incredible. But also like we'd been so used to like Pierce, who was drafted, back in 98, and then Garnett and Ray Allen coming as like older established players. We hadn't really been used to that sort of trajectory from a youth standpoint. So that was a really exciting juncture in the Celtics season. We've got so much more to get to. We do have to take a moment and pay the bills here, Jake, and hear from our friends over at Prize Picks.
That's right. It's a scorching sports summer, and you can make all your picks on Prize Picks. The WNBA. Is Caitlin Clark back? I think so. Baseball are heating up. The Sox. John Henry finally turns up, and the Sox lose their first game in 15 Ws. Big tennis slams, major golf tournaments. It's all here on Prize Picks. No better place for all your summer sports than Prize Picks, American #1 sports picks app. WNBA, biggest stars in women's basketball are in the heart of their season. There's no better place to run your game than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app.
Shout out Prize Picks, shout out the CLNS Media Network for presenting this show, which you should also subscribe to on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And another thing that we need to promote that we continue to forget promoting, myself included, is this First of the Floor live show, for which we do not have a date yet. We are waiting for the NBA schedule to come out. We know it's going to be approximately. It is LeBron's fault, absolutely. It continues to smite us as Celtics fans, but we know it's going to be in the first week or so, approximately, of November. We know that it's going to be in Boston at a venue that we'll know where it's going to be essentially once we have a date that we can book, but we're circling a couple of places there, smallish venues. So there'll be tickets on sale for that, I guess, in the near future once the schedule's locked in. In the meantime, let us know, like comments, Twitter, whatever, your interest in such a thing so that we can gauge things like venue sizes and logistics and stuff like that. Really have no idea what to expect, Jake. Like we've never done anything like this. The closest thing we've done is a hotel room podcast with Greeny, with me as the audience / producer. So
which was wonderful.
This will be a bit of a step up. That was wonderful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
let us know. But pencil in your calendars, early November, coming to Boston, or if you're in Boston, coming to the live show, coming to the pub before / during / after with the First of the Floor boys, watching some basketball. And having a great time, and just furthering the lore of the First of the Floor podcast in the Boston sports media world.
And who knows what lore moments will be created on the night. So you better be there to help out. And if you're not from Boston, if you're not in Boston, now's the time. Fly in for this gargantuan event. Hang out.
That's
watch
right.
the show. Back to Jaylen Brown.
Brown.
So if you're not calling the 2018 playoff run like the breakout, I think 2019, 20, like going into the Kemba era. So going into that season, Jaylen Brown signs the 4-year, $115 million extension, considered a big overpay at the time. And then the Kemba season rather, just this like washing away of the bad vibes of the demons. And we're left with just this uprising of both the Jays, but certainly Jaylen Brown definitely, I think, stepped it up in terms of his overall on and off the court maturity, in terms of his production and his ability to gel with the other sort of marquee players on the team. I'll run some highlights here as well while we're talking about it. But like at this point in time, really like within 2 weeks of that season after signing the extension, I think it was quite clear that was a pretty fucking good deal. And he was going to exceed the value of that contract, I thought.
Yeah. It was a horrendous 2019 season. And yeah, everybody, it was pretty much consensus that contract was over the market value for what Jaylen Brown had proved so far. And then he comes out the next season and immediately shows everybody that he's worth it. 22 points a game, 8 boards, one of his better defensive seasons from memory, 1920. Yeah, defensively, kind of 80. It kind of like that 2019 to 2022 range. Like some of the more defensive analytics were more Jaylen Brown friendly, but he comes out in that season. And yeah, thank you to Kemba. But we level up. We level up massively. Like Jaylen Brown's dropping 3. How many 30 bombs did he have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like in that regular season, as kind of like the third option on that team, sometimes the fourth option when Hayward was really rolling in that season. And then in the playoffs was really good. Unfortunately, the first thing that comes to mind is the OG Anunoby shot in game 3 of the Raptors series. But he had a couple of really good games in the Miami conference finals. And again, it was like, I think when I I was reflecting on the era, it was like, there's been an oscillation between really exceeding expectations and then kind of doing the opposite at times. And that's the reality of sports, I think, at the end of the day. That second year that we talked about when they make the conference finals, no one saw that coming. Coming off that 2019 season, you lose Horford, you lose Kyrie, you bring in Kemba. Nobody expected them to be the second, third seed and then make the conference finals again, massively exceeding expectations. And then I think the same was true for 2022. I think like 22, maybe before the season, people were a bit higher, but like making the finals with Jaylen and Jason being like 22/3 and 24/5 was so far ahead of schedule. And this season with Kemba, the bubble being so weird, this whole kind of little section, it was a bubble because the Celtics were rolling before the bubble went down. And Ben's just showing Jaylen Brown dunks right now. It's awesome.
My 3 favorite words in sequence: Jaylen Brown dunks.
Jaylen Brown dunks.
Yeah, just we needed that season so badly, man. Just like the vibes reset. And Kemba was at the helm of that, and Jaylen like one of the key beneficiaries. And you talk about that Raptors series and the bubble. Yeah, that was the OG shot, but also we'll probably play it later if it doesn't appear on this clip. But the dunk on OG Anunoby off the smart, like quick, wing, like pick and roll play in transition. It was this insane play, and just the level of posterization on OG Anunoby is like 10 out of 10. It's one of my favorite Celtics plays of all time. Incredible season. But yeah, from his second season to this third season, he goes from 13 points per game to 20.3 points per game. He goes from 34% from 3 back up to 38% from 3. And just like this incredible productive season. And like I guess it's difficult to draw comparisons, from any good season to that 2019 like Kyrie Evil Vibes season, because like everyone kind of had a downturn. But yeah, again, just an incredible reset. And the playoff run, again, at this point, we're starting to get used to this like consistency of success. of course, the Kyrie season being the anomaly once again, but just like at this point, we're just frothing at the mouth with these two young guns, the Jays, with just like how deep they continue to carry us into the playoffs time and time again at such young ages. So at this point, we're completely Jaylen pilled, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is the golden age has begun now. It's like these dudes, we're going to have them for the next 10 years, and we weren't super wrong. We're going to win multiple titles. I know. I think early in this stage, I was still like, winning titles isn't the hardest possible thing you can do in the history of sports. Like, it's my appreciation for how difficult it is to win an NBA title has really changed through the Jays era. Like, it's just such a war of attrition. You need so many things to go right, and really the amount of success they had in the playoffs is kind of fulfilling how I felt at the time. I remember you and me at Surly's, I think, in 2021.
Yeah.
2020.
I cursed the Celtics.
That's right. Yeah, 2022 actually. It was after the finals. They'd lost, and they were like 20-5. And we watched them lose the Warriors rematch. And before that game, you're like, well, like they're probably going to win the title. And I was like,
that wrong to think that in that moment?
no, I don't think I was that against you. I was like, but that was definitely strong. But I don't think that we realized because that next season was, I think, when really the true pain began.
Mm-hmm.
Like the 2022 finals obviously hurt, but again, that was like a exceeding expectations type of season. But I mean, I'm just enjoying watching Jaylen Brown do stuff on the screen right now.
I'm kind of mesmerized right now. I've got like notes and stuff, but I'm completely distracted. It's amazing. Okay, so like 2019, 2020 into sort of 2021 was a weird season. It was like coming off of like post COVID. I think Jaylen was injured. We lost in the first round to the Nets. Jaylen had the hand injury. Yeah. Weird, like, I don't know, Enes Kanter featured heavily.
Tristan Thompson. Yeah, strange times, but like I guess that takes us up to like I think the conclusion of the ascent of the Jays, where it's like far more success to failure, like the healthy end of that ratio. There's a lot of promise, and I think at that point there's maybe even some frustration that they haven't really gotten over the hill, made it into the finals, and the focus sort of starts to shift towards, which at this point is becoming like Brad Stevens as Pobo. Danny Ainge is moving on, and we're getting to this point where it's like we've reached cruising altitude, we're above the clouds, we're high on the Jays, and like, all right, when's the championship winning going to start? So I don't know. At that point in the chronological Jaylen review, where's your head at, Jake? Yeah, well, that was they lose that Nets series. Jaylen has the wrist surgery, and Brad trades Kemba for Al Horford that offseason, and Ime becomes the coach. And that, like, I went back, like that 2022 run, I think is underrated. Like, was underrated in my mind. Like, I went back and looked through it. I'm like, that was a gauntlet of a run between going through the KD and Kyrie Nets. You go through Giannis, you go through the Jimmy Butler, Bam, Devil Magic team, and then you take on one of the greatest players of all time. And I know that they lost that series. And again, while it really hurt, it wasn't. We believed we would just get there. Like we keep leveling up. We keep leveling up. Like Jason Tatum wins Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Jaylen, like, while the turnovers from both Tatum and Jaylen were one of the stories of why they lost that series, Jaylen had some awesome moments in that playoff run, and specifically in this Warriors series, specifically games 1 and 3. Like, some of the highlight blocks were awesome. And old friend, you got Grant Williams out there, we got Marcus out there. The two-way explosions. I'll say this one hurt my soul. You got Marcus on the right wing with Jaylen Brown potentially coming for a handoff, cuts back door, 2-hand slam in the Garden.
Bounce pass. Jaylen Brown is erupted here in the first. He's got 14.
Oh, you were at this game, yeah.
If it's game 3,
Brown with a head of steam. Continue to get good stuff of the high screen and will return. Oh, beautiful back cut. And Smart with a bounce pass. Jaylen Brown is erupted here in the first. He's got 14. He was great. 11. Smart
Marcus.
Steal and deflected off Draymond.
Deflection off Draymond. Horford quick throw. Touchdown down the other end to JV.
Hell yeah.
Timeout, Golden
At this
State.
moment,
Warriors
this game
napping on that play.
2-1 in the finals, and obviously we know what happened from there. But like, everybody was like, "Man, the Celtics are kind of taking it to the Warriors," and obviously they were up in Game 4 as well. But
That
man,
game
Jalen
one
was-
win, man.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like we robbed a nation of their entire GDP. Like, it just felt like we had completely just committed a bank robbery and gotten away with it. Like, we were De Niro in Heat, although he did not get away with it. So maybe a bad analogy. But Spoonie and I were walking out of that building just like, we're going to win the championship. Like, that was incredible. It's like, we're up 2-1 at that point. Like, we've shown that we're not scared of the Warriors. Unfortunately, from that point onwards, it seemed like the only thing that we did show was that we were completely terrified of the Warriors. But it was good vibes for a while. They're up 2-1, and obviously Jaylen instrumental.
It really was
in that series. And I think, like, from memory, maybe this is revisionist history, but like clicked quite well with Ime, and like we didn't really see the sort of chemistry issues
Everyone
that we saw
did.
back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, incredible season. And like modest like counting stats, like 23.6 points per game, 6 rebounds a game, just like slotted in nicely in his role and didn't sort of over assert himself. Really, no one did in the team that season. That's why the chemistry was so good.
And like, you know, this is the Jaylen Brown appreciation show, but like these years where he was at his best, right? Like that 2018 season, he was just like, whenever he becomes like a superstar role player, it's like, it's not about the touches, but he is able to unleash the best versions of himself. And I think in the 2022 run, the 2024 run, which we're obviously going to get to as well, like even in the bubble kind of run where it was, you know, like all the versions of the team where they were just team and everyone was playing like a sacrificed role, quote unquote. But I think that's just how basketball works. Like the best versions of these teams are not going to have max usage roles on them. And that 2022 version of Jaylen, where he's able to focus on the two-way stuff and also just fill in the gaps offensively, like really, really, really the best version of Jaylen Brown. And we saw a lot of that in this run.
Yeah, he did have his first 50-point game in 2022 as well. 50 points, 11 boards against Orlando in a win. Incredible. One of only, I think, 2 50-point plus games in his career. But yeah, I mean, obviously the finals, like that's the punctuation point of that season. Before we get to like the peak, finals MVP, winning the title, we probably have to talk about what I think is the low point, which is like the loss to Miami. In fact, but quickly before that, the 2022 Miami Eastern Conference Finals, where we won in 7 games. That series like almost ended my life on multiple occasions.
The whole run, dude. Yeah. Like it starts with game 1 against the Nets, and it's a buzzer beater layup from Tatum where everybody touches it. It's beautiful. You go down the entire series against the Bucks. Like you're down 0-1, you're down 2-1, you're down 3-2. Like you win and you choke these games away. And the Heat series, I was on my knees in my living room in Game 7 when they had won the game, and they were choking it away.
The Butler shot.
I was on my knees. I was on my knees praying, like, don't do this. Please don't do this. Yeah, no question. That playoff run took years off my life, but it was like so close to being the most aura-filled championship run. If they could have somehow held on in Game 4 to go up 3-1, like obviously we know that
game
doesn't
bad vibes, terrible vibes.
There's Steph Curry, holy fuck. But yeah, and like up until and that's the hardest thing in the NBA to do. It's like they got to a place where they were like perennially really good, but to be perennially like in the finals and winning championships is basically impossible, as we've seen now in the modern NBA. So they like on one hand kept ripping our heart out 2022, 2023, like going down 0-3 to the Heat, and then they obviously win the title, but then 2025, 2026, all of these losses around the title are just fucking the most painful experiences you can have. But at the same time, like there's only two options at that point. You either win the title and you're so fucking close and you experience painful losses. Look at the Spurs. They were up in every game of the finals and they lost. And now there's just no guarantee that they win. Like, I think the Spurs are terrifying to look at, but it's so hard for things to go right at that highest level. And we experienced it through particularly the lens of Jaylen Brown. I feel like that Game 7 being the magnus opus of pain for Jaylen Brown against the Heat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what ultimately led Jason Tatum to do
We
it.
did it!
That doesn't come from nowhere. That comes from years of pain and suffering. But yeah, 2023, we've got a comment here. Where is it? Yeah, Game 7, 2023 was a disaster for JB, but I never hear anyone giving Joe Mazzulla crap. The meltdown started when he put Brogdon in, who was just so injured and he didn't play in Game 6. He couldn't shoot or pass at that point. Yeah, I mean, it's not to solely blame Jaylen Brown for the outcome of that series. It's just that, we're talking about Jaylen Brown. There were many fingers to point at many people, but Jaylen Brown, I think was it 7 turnovers in Game 7. No Tatum in that game. He went out with a sprained ankle on like the first possession of the game. It was one of those rare examples at that point for Jaylen to put the team on his back and sort of, actually exhibit the way that he'd sort of talked about himself in the past. But unfortunately, Spo and that Heat team just knew all the right levers to pull. And it was a bad look. Fortunately, it leads to the absolute peak.
Yeah.
2024, NBA champ, Finals MVP, like incredible season. We've got like not just in terms of his individual performance, but chemistry. It's the cookies and cream. Like immediately, him and KP, best buds. The on and off court vibes are incredible. It's so easy now to look back in hindsight and just be like, that team absolutely destined to win the championship. We talk about it all the time on this show, like how much we suffered through that entire season, which is just insane in hindsight. But yeah, good times, Jake.
That's why. That like the previous 2 seasons were the reason why. Like in particular that 2023 season, because like that was the end of me. I've talked about this, enjoying the beginning of the playoffs, I've realized, and just enjoying the beautiful TV show that is the regular season Boston Celtics. But yeah, 2024, and we got clowned kind of, I want to say January of the 2024 season. We had a clip and a podcast talking about how Jaylen was playing the best basketball of his career. And it was about being in the flow of the offense, playing his best version of defense, making the right decisions, being the superstar role player. And that's not a fucking insult. Like, that's
not on that team.
Not on that team. He was, and that came to fruition in the playoffs. And he had really high highs, because that was what was cool about that version of Jaylen. It was not only the role player stuff, but he also was able to give you the monster 40-point games, the 30-point box score stat stuffing performances. And we weren't alone, obviously, but we were like, Jaylen's primed to have like the bounce back season in the playoffs, and he was electric. The whole team was electric the whole season and the entire playoff run. And Jaylen in the conference finals, Jaylen in the finals, like monster, right on cue. Like, they probably win this series, but Jaylen Brown, Game 1, hitting this shot in the corner to force overtime over Pascal Siakam, allowing them to steal Game 1. I don't want to know what happens if they lose Game 1.
Well, yeah. Talk about suffering through this entire like playoff run. At that point, before that shot went up, I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, this is how it ends.
Yeah.
We lose Game 1 at home.
Yep.
Give up our advantage.
Dude, yeah,
I mean, just an
you see
insane shot.
you see all the ghosts and skeletons. Like, there's probably an and one, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But
like,
this series was unreal, particularly for Celtics fans.
You feel like, I don't know, weirdly enough, like Jaylen is kind of the only person on that roster, maybe Derek as well, who can just make that shot in that situation, guarded by like arguably their best defender in that circumstance.
Yeah, and that's the argument that I keep about losing Jaylen, is that he's just able to get good normal shot quality looks for him in the playoffs. And they don't have that guy now. And we've covered extensively about what that means. Good, bad, neither. But that's what he fucking has done over and over again in a ton of big moments. And man, now we've got the finals. And like from the jump, guarding Luka, it's the perfect matchup for him. Someone that's not quick enough. And while he's technically bigger than Jaylen, is not stronger than Jaylen. And multiple cookie stealing moments going back the other way in the garden, just completely smothering Luka Doncic. The doughy Slovenian is beautiful.
He had him in hell. Like this whole highlight clip is just like the defensive highlights of Jaylen on Luka throughout the playoff run. But like it's such a significant aspect as to why we won that series because of what Jaylen was willing to do.
I'm seeing a lot of Luka made shots here.
Maybe I should have watched it before I
I'm like, this is just. I think Luka has made 4 in a row. If you're watching now,
look, he's going to make a few. But I think we know that the Jaylen defense was obviously like an integral part of the Celtics' success in that playoff series, and obviously his offensive output was incredible as well. So I don't know. I don't want to get into the whole like litigating the who should have won Finals MVP because this is a pro Jaylen Brown show. But like obviously the defensive run from Jaylen in the finals was incredible. I want to get to Game 3 as well. Like I've got it right here. Let's watch it.
Yeah, but again,
strides, pulls up, jump shot, puts it in. Jaylen
like
Brown,
the shot, quote unquote.
Right. Through the legs, pump fake.
I just saw you had
flash.
a moment.
Like, and again, you can go back and watch the playbacks of us watching these games, and all the way to Game 5, where we're up 20. We're just not letting it. We're still freaking out, and like in this game, Porzingis is injured, and that's why it was so important to get out of the Pacers series as quickly as we did, and out of the Cavs series and Heat series as quickly as we did, because it felt as though Horford might be a ticking time bomb. Not a time bomb, but like how much can we ride this 36, 37-year-old as our starting big man now that Porzingis is injured for the second time in the same playoff run? So you win Game 3, it just completely obviously changes the series. Like you win this game, you win the series. Granted, it still was a little bit terrifying after Dallas comes out and waxes us in Game 4. It's like, fuck, well, we don't have Porzingis still. Like he's limping around out there, and thankfully Tatum was able to have his best game in Game 5. But Tatum was awesome in the first half of this game, and the shot kind of abandoned him to a degree in the second half. And that was what made this team special for the decade of the Jays, was like you had both of them. And it was like Tatum cooked in that first half when Jaylen wasn't knocking down shots. They both end the game with like 30-point two-way performances, and Jaylen kind of takes us home in this game. But like, the defense on Luka was incredibly important, and the defense from Tatum being able to guard Lively and Gafford and switch those pick and rolls. It was both of them that allowed you to be so flexible scheme wise and so flexible roster building wise. That was the superpower of the team, and the CBA ruined everything, obviously.
CBA is a real enemy. Yeah, I think like what makes this game in particular so career defining for Jaylen is, like you said, like he brought us home in this one. This was probably the closest, like the tightest game in the series, the first game on the road for the Celtics. And like you don't want to give one up. Like you want to win one of those 2 away games on the road, Game 3 and 4, and you give one up suddenly, like the pressure's right back on you for Game 4 on the road. And Jaylen just clutch play after clutch play in the NBA Finals. Like that's just career defining shit. And he just had it in the moment where we needed it from him. And like we're looking at the highlights here, it's not just like ISO buckets, it's rebounds, it's assists, it's defensive plays. It's just like winning plays, essentially, as Brad Stevens likes to say. And right when we needed it.
Yeah. When Jaylen's making those right plays, it's just like attacking off the catch, getting downhill, hitting the open guy. And I'm assuming that the highlight's going to pop up here soon. But I mean, the 2024 Celtics, if you're not watching on YouTube, you have to, because this team was like the definition of beautiful basketball. They could not be stopped. Two-way monsters, generating beautiful looks. Jaylen Brown dunking on people. And Jaylen Brown, don't forget, the architect of one of the most vibiest moments of the 2024 playoff run, the Xavier Tillman corner three to put the Celtics up like towards the end of the third quarter was as special as it gets, really.
Yeah, you want to talk about first of the floor law? That's up there. That's in the top 5, even though we had nothing to do with it.
Here he is. Tillman's on the court here. It's got to be coming soon.
Was the assist from Jaylen?
I'm pretty sure it's about not this one. I'm pretty sure it's coming soon. He's here. ISO Gafford. Here it comes. Clears out. Downhill.
Kick
Tillman
out.
Corner. Cash. Bench goes absolutely crazy. Yeah. The dunks, like the highlight reels from Jaylen in the finals are crazy. The steals, there we go. You got Tatum on the bench with Walsh and our boys Fima Hyluk and Jaden Springer going absolutely
all the
nuts.
greats.
Oh, like these dunks, unfucking believable. The steals on Luka, there's the pass to Tillman, some of the between the legs and dunks on dudes in the lane, like the peak Jaylen Brown was, and of this team, Tatum, man, this 2024 run was so special, and in hindsight, so easy.
I know. Yeah. If you want to like see a bunch of stressed out dudes, then on our Patreon, we've got the playback recording of Game 5, where it's like, you look at it now from any non-Celtics fan, the most obvious, like definite win of all time. And it's us just like sweating blood for 3 hours. So definitely go check that out if you're a Patreon subscriber. I think we'll just run the dunk package as we sort of like bring us to conclusion here, Jake. But that brings us almost up to present day. Like there's not much left in the tank there. 2025, we know how that went down. I don't know if there's much that went down in 2025 that was particularly like career defining or significant for Jaylen. I think the main thing is like the meniscus injury. There was something up, right? Like we sort of noticed halfway through the season, he wasn't as like sort of spry as we'd sort of come to be used to seeing him to be at that point. And turns out in the end, like maybe the one legacy defining thing is like kind of a heroic playoff run, all things considered, that he managed to like play through that injury. Game 5, I want to say, against the Knicks, where they extended the series one more game, like post Tatum's injury. That was pretty sick. But I don't know, anything notable from that season? Yeah,
I mean, it was in now it feels painful because of what happens from there. Obviously, the Tatum Achilles, the Jaylen meniscus, but like they won 61 games, had an incredible title defense, and Jaylen was right in the middle of it. Played 63 games, made the All-Star team again. But yeah, that oh man, the left-hand dunk over Giannis. His poster collection is crazy.
It's one of the best.
Crazy. Especially once we won the title and unlocked all of the dunks that were stuck in the Chamber of Secrets. So important.
There were quite a few.
Quite a few.
And there's still, I think, some even in hindsight, like the one at KG's.
I was thinking of the same one.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, we got completely fucked up in that game. But what a moment. What a moment.
Yes, but it was against the Mavs, thankfully. So it's like,
oh yeah, good point.
You did lose that game to the Mavs, but you ended up beating the Mavs in the finals. Yeah, man, he's got like 3 or 4 just awesome posters on Giannis, LeBron. It's bring back the flat. I don't think Jaylen can bring back the flat top at this point.
No. Oh, here we go. This is my favorite JB dunk of all time. So they run this. He runs a little pick for him, gets the ball back, and just absolutely annihilates OG
off the trampoline. This is Liberation 7. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Man.
The bubble was crazy, man. Like, and the times of the day that they were on. Like, I remember watching that game when my kid had just been born, and I was like up in the middle of the night giving her a bottle, and just like with my phone in one hand watching that game, just like completely freaking out, trying not to drop my baby at that moment in time. Stuff. COVID was crazy times.
COVID was crazy times.
I think we're almost done. Like we do need to talk about like the finale, if you will, like his final season with the Celtics. Obviously no Jason Tatum for the majority of it. You see a pretty huge jump in Jaylen's numbers across the board. And at this point in time, like if you think prior to last season, this sort of at least more public uptick in all the off the court stuff that Jaylen Brown was doing, like in the community with his charitable work and doing a lot of like events and fan meet and greets. He starts the live streams and really just like his engagement with Celtics fans and the community, I thought went up a notch. I don't know if that's because he had a sense that like his time was running out, whatever it might have been, but I thought there was a pretty noticeable uptick in like his sort of off the court engagement with the fan base as well.
Yeah, there was it the summer after 2025 with the knee where he was just like at every community event. Remember like Noah doing story after story of Jaylen just like hanging out in the rain, hugging fans. Like, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that he thought that it was the time coming to an end. And hey, man, another reason why I'm, a little bit worried about this Jaylen Brown trade to Philly is that every time that he's been doubted and every time that he has been given a reason to have a chip on his shoulder after 2023, pretty much the whole early part of his career, he kind of comes out and gets better and proves everybody wrong. So I'm a little bit worried about that version of Jaylen going to the Philadelphia 76ers because last season when we were like, I don't know if there's another level for Jaylen, and I don't know if we're right or wrong, but the highs of Jaylen Brown last season, I thought we were just wrong about the playmaking. Took a jump, which was always the big thing with Jaylen, the ability to make the right play and be the engine of a good offense. We were and like he deserves a ton of credit for the leadership piece. Like to come into the season where everyone's doubting you, where you're going to be leaning on Josh Minot and Jordan Walsh and Uri Gonzalez and Luka Garza and Neemias Queta, Baylor Scheinman, a bunch of what are we talking about, guys? And yes, the on-off numbers are what they are, but when I was arguing for Jaylen to be higher in the MVP ballot, I think the intangible stuff is really, really important. And I do think he is good for the culture and chemistry of a team because he holds guys accountable. He leads by example by being one of the hardest workers on the team. But yeah, Jaylen Brown's favorite season.
Yeah, I think you'd extend that to he's good for the culture of a city as well. Yeah, Jaylen Brown's favorite season. But like he's got his like the Juice Foundation, the Bridge program. I'm not going to read through all of them, like the Boston Exchange stuff he did with Drew Holiday. Like he gets involved. He gets his tendrils hooked in with the city. And it'll be interesting to see how that like goes with Philly or if he keeps one foot in the door at Boston as far as maintaining some of those things he's got going on. But also in this season, like back to the on the court stuff, he had a stretch of, I want to say 9 30-point games around December 2025, which led into that 50-point game against the Clippers as well, where he shot 69%. Yeah, like that was awesome. And that was, I mean, if you listen to the pod back then, that's me at that point in time saying, and like surely Jason Tatum's coming back like any week now as well as Jaylen Brown is ascending to peak form. That of course didn't happen until much later. But
that was it? Oh, that was January, wasn't it?
Yeah. Early January.
Stupid American system with the dates and the days. I'm looking, it's like, the 3rd of the 1st of March. Anyway, wrong. The 3rd of January. Stupid system, but I feel like we were right and wrong so much throughout last season, but the highs of the Jaylen Brown experience in the regular season were deserving of second team All NBA and deserving of 6th in MVP. We just kind of got a bit of a reversion to evil Jaylen, so to speak, in the playoffs. But that being said, he was fucking great in Game 7, and going all the way back to the comments that after he was drafted about being ready to go to war for the city, he's guarding Joel Embiid. He's our best Joel Embiid defender in Game 7 of the first round, getting blocks on him, and he makes the pass to Pritchard in the corner. He could have made a pass to Nemi down the line, but like Peyton Pritchard in the corner, wide open to fucking put a dagger in Philly. You think that shot's going in, and who knows if there's definitely an alternate reality. Like if they just win Game 5 of round 1, and I don't know, they go into that next series healthy and Jason Tatum's like doesn't have that
Rested.
little injury and he's able to kind of keep building on his Achilles recovery and get a week off. And who knows? Probably not. Probably they just lose to the Knicks, but like there's a world where they just get hot and go on a run. And we have the Jays for longer.
So, I mean, there it is, I guess. 10 seasons, 816 games, 4 or 5 All-Star appearances, a title, Finals MVP, an Eastern Conference Finals MVP, the Larry Bird Trophy, and like the partnership, the Jays. Like the Jays, obviously Tatum remains, but the Jays era is over. What a run! 9 seasons. Any other fan base could live their entire lives and not be blessed with a period as good as we just got over almost an entire decade, including the title. Just incredible, really. And I genuinely wish him well in Philly. I hope that the entire city burns down around him and he's the sole survivor. But I wish him individually very well in Philadelphia, because obviously I want to see the rest of his career play out successfully. But feelings of conflict there, I suppose, Jake.
Here's what I'll say. I want the turnover rate to remain the same now. I want the 3-point shot to not just have an awesome, be like shoots 40% from 3 next season. Because I will always love Jaylen Brown, but he's on the Philadelphia 76ers now. He's coming at our necks. It doesn't mean that like I want him to have a bad life personally, but when we get in between those lines, I'm going to need him to miss shots and turn the ball over. I'm going to need that. And Jaylen, I think, would agree. He's going to come right at Jason Tatum next season. Like it's going to be must-see TV. The first, I hate that they're playing each other twice in the preseason.
Yeah,
because it kind of takes. I hope that maybe like Jaylen doesn't play or Jason doesn't play, and there's just they take the juice out of it, because it's so shitty for the return to be a preseason game. I want it to be like either opening night, Christmas Day as the return, and for there to be like Jaylen, Jason 1v1 guarding each other moments. They both probably turn the ball over, if we're being completely honest. They probably both go 6 for 18, and hopefully the Celtics win.
It's not going to be Jaylen turnovers, I'm afraid. It's going to be like elite assist to turnover ratio, like hardcore efficiency, us saying, where the fuck was this? It's going to be all of that, at least for the first game, and then maybe things settle down a little bit.
We love you, Jaylen, but it's go C's at the end of the day. And Jaylen said it too. Like, I've spent my whole life being like, fuck the Sixers, fuck the process.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do some rewiring.
Yeah, we all do.
We all do. Fuck.
All right. Well, this was fun. This was cathartic. I think we just got so bogged down, I think necessarily, in the logistics of the trade and the reasoning behind the trade and all the stuff that sort of makes sense for what's coming, that it was good to sort of pause and like look back on what has been, like we said, a decade of greatness. So I don't know if you got any parting thoughts, Jake, but I think we can leave it there.
It's going to be a long off season. I'm really excited for next season, but
I'm excited to get to Boston. I can't believe we're going. It's like soon.
It's coming up. Lots of off-season fun to come. I'll hop on the Patreon to talk about the Jordan Walsh extension at some point in the next couple of days, and how Brad Stevens is building the optionality dream team. So make sure you're signed up for the Patreon. We're constantly talking nonsense in the Discord as well. But yeah, man.
Get in there. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back early next week, and as well on the Patreon, as Jake said, to talk about the Walshy extension. Jake Eisenberg, love your work, man. Until next time, go Celts.